Good afternoon, all. Today we'll be studying about gastrointestinal system, and I would really like to tell you that this is one of the most important systems that we'll see the questions from. So let's dive into the topics. I hope all of you can see my screen. Okay, so you all know that this gastrointestinal system is also known as the digestive system, right? So, right from when you put something like any edible item into your mouth till it is eliminated from your body, the digestive system or the gastrointestinal systems and the organs of it takes care of the food, your nutrition, your absorption, your metabolism, everything. So let's see what all things are there in the gastrointestinal system. There's nothing new. This is all basic. Um, the functions of all this is all the organs involved, the location of it, and the specific disease condition involved with the specific organs. That's what we're gonna study about, in this session. So when we talk about gastrointestinal system, there are various uh, organs starting from mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, right? So these are the basic structures that you will see in a gastrointestinal systems. Along with it, we have some accessory glands like liver, pancreas, gallbladders, and the ductal system in order to help the gastrointestinal system. They work in collaboration so that the food is well digested and excreted out of the body, right? So we have mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and accessory glands, which include liver, pancreas, and the gallbladders. Also, the ductal system. So, starting with the mouth, you all know that it contains the salivary gland, right? Responsible for producing the saliva. The one most important thing that you need to know about saliva is it is alkaline in pH. So you basically your digestion starts right in the mouth, right? So after the mouth, we have a muscular tube, tube like structure known as esophagus, also known as the food pipe. So this muscular tube is 10-inch long. uh, there are various conditions that you'll learn about, about the esophagus. For example, esophageal varices, which is when there's a liver disease, there's portal hypertension comes up, and then there's a dilation in the veins of the esophagus and ruptures, which is a very dangerous and fatal condition known as esophageal varices. We'll be studying about each organ and their associated disease conditions, right? So after the esophagus, you all know there's a bag of storage that comes in, that's popularly known as the stomach. Here you see the picture of it, the stomach. You see here, this is the picture of the stomach. So it contains the first opening you see here. This is cardia, where the esophagus opens into the stomach. So that is known as cardia. And the upper part, this is the fundus. The middle portion is known as the body of the stomach. Then you see the antrum, that is the distal part. Okay, and then after the antrum, you'll see a sphincter, same as the cardia, but at the distal end, that is known as the pylorus. So you have cardia, you have fundus, body, antrum, and pylorus. That's your stomach, right? And the other most important thing that you need to know about stomach is there's a fluid in the stomach, right? That's popularly known as the hydrochloric acid. As the name suggests, acid. Because of the presence of the HCl, the acid, the pH of the stomach remains acidic. And this acidic nature basically helps your stomach to kill the bacteria and also to break down the food particles, right? So that it can digest without any trouble. Another thing that you need to know here is chyme. What is chyme? Chyme is nothing but it is the partially digested food that is leaving the stomach. So your stomach, when it gets the food through the esophagus, it starts its digestion, right? But it cannot fully digest your food. It does the half job, and now the food, the half digested food, has to travel down to the intestines. So when the half digested food, which is stored and then leaving the stomach, entering into the esophagus, that particular partially digested food is known as the chyme. Okay, so now imagine chyme is coming down to the next part of the GI system, that is small intestine. And when we talk about small intestine, there are small three parts of small intestine, that is duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. You can you can recognize it as, learn it as DJI, duodenum, jejunum, and the um, ileum, right? So let's see. Now, after it passes the DJI, that is the whole small intestine, the food now reaches to the large intestine. And here you see the structure of the large intestine. Here is the cecum, colon. You see, I'll just, just try to increase the size of it. If you can see this. So here you see this is the cecum. To this part, you have a red color structure that you see in this picture, that is the appendix. It has no functional thing. It does nothing. It is just a vegetative organ there. It does no physiological benefit to the body. But then when it is infected, it causes fatal injuries. The person may die if it is not treated on time. So here it is, the large intestine, it contains cecum, and then there's colon, and there's different parts of colon. This one which is going upward, that is known as ascending colon. This is the transverse, then this is the descending colon, then this is the sigmoid colon, this tilted one, and then there's, at the end, there's anus, through which the fully digested food, or the excreta comes out of the body. So the most important thing you need to learn about the large intestine, the function of it, which is absorption of water and electrolytes. So that is why when you learn in the further, when you learn about system further, you'll see if you do the ostomy above the level of the large intestine, you'll see liquidy stool. But when it is towards, for example, towards the sigmoid colon, okay, you'll see a formed stool, because sigmoid से पहले जितना भी area है, that is large intestine, and then the large intestine has a responsibility of absorption of water, right? So the water is absorbed into the body and the stool becomes hard, not hard, like we can say it is formed. But when you do the ostomy anywhere above the cecum, right in the small intestine में अभी तक absorption of water नहीं हुआ है. So that means the stool that is there in the small intestine, it will contain the water also. So you'll see a liquidy kind of stool. So you'll study in the further thing, and it's very very important. You may get questions from it. Not directly, but then you need to know the logic behind it. So let's learn about the another important organ, that is the liver. So this is the liver, which comes under the accessory glands that we were talking about. So it is one of the largest intestinal organ. Okay, it is one of the largest intestinal organ, and it is located below the diaphragm. It has four lobes: right, left, quadrate, and quadrate. And it has two big large arteries which supply blood to them, the liver. And then there's portal artery, portal vein, which takes away blood from the portal, the hepatic cells. And there's portal artery which brings in the blood. Now the basic function that you need to know about liver, very very important, that it produces bile. It produces bile. Okay, very important. There's another organ which stores the bile. That's different. We'll study about it. So here the first function of liver is to produce the bile. And what does bile do? Bile helps in the emulsification of fat. It softens the fat. It helps in the digestion of the fat. Okay, now the liver also helps with metabolism of fat, carbohydrates, and the protein. Okay, so it helps with metabolism of fat, carbohydrates, and proteins. Then it is also responsible for producing the clotting factors like fibrinogen and prothrombin. It also produces the albumin, very very important. You'll see so many conditions which are related to the lack of albumin. For example, in the liver disease, right, you'll see the patient with liver cirrhosis, and the liver cancers, hepatitis. You'll see so many patients with edematous extremities. That is because of the lack of albumin. Those who are working in the clinical setups may have seen people getting, the patients getting albumin injections. Okay, so that is very very important. It's one of the most important proteins in the body. If that's not there, the fluid shift is really rapid. The body becomes swollen, and it is a very fatal, it can lead to a very fatal state. Now the production of hormone angiotensin, another one of the most important uh, hormones, angiotensin. For now, you just know that it is related to regulating the water absorption, also the BP, because the water in the body is directly related to the blood pressure that you may be having. So it is an hormone that regulates RAS system. सुना होगा आपने. So that's related to that angiotensin. Now breakdown of insulin and other hormones. That's also another function of liver. Detoxification of ammonia, storage of filtration of blood, detoxification of many drugs, and when we talk about detoxification of many drugs, detoxification matlab it is excreting out the drug. If your liver is not functioning properly, uh, there's a buildup of drug in the body and it causes toxicity. So and then you have another set of symptoms that are related to the toxicity. So it is one of the organ which saves you from drug toxicity. So detoxification of many drugs happen here in the liver. Now when we talk about gallbladder, I told you liver is responsible for producing the bile, right? And the bile helps in the fat emulsification. But ये स्टोर कहाँ होता है? Bile. So bile is stored in the gallbladder. So that is how you need to remember. Liver is responsible for producing the bile. Gallbladder is responsible for storing the bile in the body. So that's that. Okay. So if you it's very very simple. You just I have made the notes very concise to the point. आप लोग बस सुनिए इसको and then go back and read about the same thing. You'll be able to relate and recall much easily. Now pancreas. Okay, when we talk about pancreas again, it is an endocrine system. It is a whole different area where you need to put your head into. There's a lot of thing going on with the pancreas, the insulin, the diabetes. There's a lot of thing. There's another story in whole. But then here, because it is one of the accessory glands, we need to study about pancreas. And now for now we'll be just studying about what are the parts of pancreas and what the pancreas is supposed to do in the body. So here we see the picture. The pancreas has head, body, and tail. As I've told you earlier, it contains it helps with the exocrine and the endocrine functions. Okay, so the exocrine functions, they are basically when the pancreas is releasing the enzymes. And what enzymes? The enzymes that can help you to digest the food. That is your exocrine function of the pancreas. Now the endocrine pancreas, endocrine part of it deals with the insulin, glucagon, right? So that's a different area in itself. So exocrine, endocrine. Exocrine part of the pancreas helps in the digestion of the food that you eat. Okay, for example, what enzymes? Okay, pancreas में 3 तरीके के enzymes release होते हैं. We have amylase that helps in the digestion of carbohydrate. We have lipase, again digestion of fat. We have tryptanogen and chymotryptin, which is helpful in the digestion of protein. So that's all about the pancreas. Let's see the quadrants of abdomen. So here you see the quadrants. We have four quadrants